Hey everybody. So I'm here to tell you today about a wonderful customer interaction that I had, customer service interaction I just had with these guys from Anthbot. So as I told you guys before, I got fired by my AI bot, and not exactly upset about it. Let me flip the camera around so you can see the quality of cut that I've been getting. All right, everybody, so here's the yard. See those nice lines? See those nice lines? And the ground is nice and cut. One thing I've been able to do with this is run it 2 to 3 times, like twice a week, which beats once every 2 weeks. Far superior, because what that helps you to do is it actually not only is good for the grass, but it also helps with your weed control. So your weeds don't have a chance to really thrive and get that sunlight, because you're cutting off their leaves, which then cuts off their ability to engage in photosynthesis. So all that said, I did have a problem. So originally when I set this up, I set it up where it was, I mapped out the yard and I did the whole thing and I let it go autonomously. I had no issues. And then for some reason, probably because of a storm, the RTG, or I keep saying that, the RTK pole that the antenna sits on was tilted, probably because we had some bad rainstorms. Blew it over, didn't blow it over completely, but it tilted it. And this damn thing is so sensitive that it actually noticed that it had been moved. And one of the caveats that I would tell anyone is that you don't have to remap your whole lawn if it's tilted. So not knowing this, I was reading the screen as it came up. But again, I am a Gen X, so I've been conditioned to just hit pop-ups so that they go away. Anyway, so I was reading it. Probably should have played a little closer attention, but I didn't know what it meant. So I hit confirm when it said it had been moved. I said, yeah, it had been moved. I straightened it out and I confirmed. When I did that, it blew out my entire map. So I had to redo my map. And my smart dumbass thought that, hey, this time, as opposed to mapping it separately, I should probably just map it all together. Just go and do the whole damn yard. Well, when I did that, I ran into a couple of problems. So the first problem, they're all the same though. So the first problem is that now, or after that particular cut, whenever the bot would encounter these pavers, those 4 concrete pavers, it would see them as a barrier and it would not cross it. So I would tell it to cut the entire backyard zone and it would only cut this. And so I'm confused. I'm like, what in the hell's going on? So I was like, okay, something I got to figure out. But I have the same problem. I have to go through the fence up front. Because as you can see, there's a couple of areas where it's missing here, there, but I'll send it back out here today. But the sidewalk was presenting the same issue here and on that part of the lawn. So what that meant for me is that I had to I was going crazy. So, because it wasn't a problem before. So I reached out to Anthbot support. So I reached out to Anthbot support, and their support is amazing. So I sent them a complete write-up of the problem I was having. I sent them some videos and some photos of what was going on. And over the next couple of days, we wrote back and forth. They gave me suggestions. At first, I'll tell you, I think we both think that I had got caught up in the support bot. So the support bot was giving me stuff. So I blew out my maps again, remapped it. That didn't solve the problem. It suggested a couple of other things, no-go zones and that type of thing, making pathways. None of that shit worked. So their support realized that I've been talking to the bot, and they wrote to me directly and said, hey, we realize that you've been working with the bot. It's not solving your problem. Let's work together. Cool. So over a period of like 2 to 3 days, they made suggestions on things I should do. And we went back and forth, we troubleshot. I would send them the latest information. The next thing you know, they finally just said, well, the problem is not so much that is the zones, which you broke it up into zones. It's the map that it isn't able to create a pathway because it sees it as the same yard. This is a whole different discussion, which I told them they probably want to write into their material, is to explain to people that if you do have obstructions like the pavers or sidewalk, that you want to map those things separately, say that explicitly in their instructions, so that then when you create the pathway or the robot creates a pathway, it doesn't see that as an obstruction and it can cross. So we were able to, and I know what I'll do is I'll cut here probably, and I'll show you on the actual maps inside the software what that looks like. So coming back, once I've did all of that, so that means I had to come out, I remapped the entire yard, but I did it in stages. So I did that area that I showed you before, that it was only cutting in that area as its own area. And then I did the entire backyard, the rest of the backyard as its own area. And then I did the front yard on the east and the west. And then I did the sidewalk yards. And then I took the time while I was doing that to make pathways, right? I would look and see if the grass might have been too tall or the sidewalk was too steep for it to walk across. So I would, make a path that was more congenial to it being able to operate. I did the same thing with the pavers, where I made multiple paths going back and forth across the pavers, and that was successful. And then I turned it on and we did the autonomous. And after doing that, it cut the whole damn yard in a day. It even worked at night to complete the task, because that was the other problem, is that it couldn't go back to charge itself because it couldn't cross back across the border. So what I was doing is manually sending the bot over into areas where it couldn't cut or wouldn't go on its own. After I manually did that, it couldn't get back across the pavers. So I would have to pick it up, carry it, that type of thing. And so that took care of that problem. And when I put it back on, because it had depleted itself, it lost its memory or forgot its task or would not continue its task. Meaning, the nice thing about this robot is just like all of my robots in the house, my vacuums, is that it will cut your grass until the battery depletes. When it gets low enough, it has just enough energy to get back, it takes it back to the charger. Once it charges itself back up to 90, 100%, it goes back out and completes that task until it completes the entirety of the task. It does that all autonomously. I don't have to tell it to do that. I don't have to do anything. It was able to successfully do that again, to the point, again, to where one night when I told it to cut the backyard, it cut it at night to finish that task. And it depleted itself, but reason it depleted itself was that, number one, it was cutting at night, so you got higher LiDAR or radar usage, and it had the flashlight on. So those things draw from the battery current, and of course the blade spinning, high grass, there's a lot. So I'm just writing this as kind of a love letter to Anthbot. They did a fabulous job of getting this customer here through the problem that he was having. Their knowledge that they have of their product is unflappable, and they offered solutions that were real resolutions, real solutions. So hey, I love it. And if this is what it feels like to be fired by AI, this is a good instance. Now, there are many bad instances. If you've seen me on different issues, there are some bad instances there where junior developers are being replaced by people, by bots and stuff, which with that does a lot of harm over time, meaning that you no longer have a bench that you can pull from, that you can elevate from, that will now allow you to have your leadership, right? That's how people ascend. They work through companies, they learn skills from people above them, and that whole different thing. This is what a good use of, well, I was gonna say animatronics, but automation and of AI. Those robots that I have in the house that vacuum, they are good uses for that. Where that is something where, yes, now that this has replaced me, I can do other things as opposed to spending the 2 hours it takes to cut the grass and mow and edge and all that stuff. Now the only thing I have to do is edge. So that's awesome. So thank you, Anthbot. I really appreciate you guys working so diligently to get this done. And again, you've got a raving fan, and I want to tell everybody, bye.